Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, there's just so many reasons out there to hate the game. And you know what? If you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean that you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals, pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and a conversational fashion. And you know, if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to assume that you do, because let's face it, you're listening right now. So please do us that kindness and keep listening and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, gives you a 5-star rating in your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere. You know, Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, and plus we archive everything over at In the Seat YouTube, so please give us a like and subscribe there as well. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, the Letterboxd, the TikTok, the Threads, the Blue Sky. I lose track. There's too many, but we're in the seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at intheseats.ca for all of the same greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because guess what? If we love to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it all that much more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please do us that ultimate kindness. Come on by and pay us a visit. And you know, if you gotta hate the game, you better hate the player. And Hate the Player is my new favorite show right now. It's on GameTV and Paramount Plus now. It is a limited series run of, it's the story of Ben Johnson, the Canadian Olympic 100-meter sprinter who won the gold medal, pride of the nation, and then was discovered that he was doping and on enhancing drugs and whatnot. But here's the thing: the show is done in a very satirical style, and it's funny. It is so funny. I mean, when I heard this show was happening, even initially I was like, is it too soon? Are we allowed to laugh at this? But boy, howdy, I was rolling in the aisles watching this. It is from showrunner Anthony Q Farrell, who's done a bunch of great stuff. And like I said, it is on Game TV and Paramount Plus now. But we had the unique pleasure sitting down with an old friend of the show. He plays I'm not going to give too much away, but he's in the series. The one and only Andrew Phung, and we talked about the show, talked a little wrestling, physical media, just, had some fun, because Andrew Phung's a fun guy, and my God, if you want to have a laugh, dial up Game TV, dial up your Paramount Plus, subscribe, do the free trial, and check out Hate the Player, the Ben Johnson story, because, oh my God, it is funny as all hell. But first, enjoy our talk with a man who is as funny as all hell, the one and only Andrew Phung, because it's a darn good one. Andrew, first off, man, as a fellow wrestling fan, man, my one's to the sky. I acknowledge you. Thank you for the time today, man. I appreciate this.
Yo, my God. Look, yo, you want to see what I just got?
Please. Yeah,
as
yeah.
a wrestling fan I'm sure, I assume the 80s and 90s, they started re-releasing these.
Oh, right. Oh, that's wild, dude.
And let me tell you, because this Ultimate Warrior right here, this Black Series LGN Ultimate Warrior was, LGN went bankrupt, so they sold off all their inventory to Canada's Grand and Toy.
Oh, wow.
So these were only available in Canada, the Black Series, and they for years have been like the holy grail of LJN wrestling figures. I was picking through a garage sale when I was 15 years old, and I found a box, like a crate of LJN figures, and inside was a Mint Warrior. I asked the people, I'm like, what do you want? They're like, oh, for $20 you could have the whole thing. And I'm like, okay. So I went home, I sold it for $300. I was on top of the world, and to get one in the wild again is like is nostalgia, man. I love it.
That's so fun, man. But yeah, I mean, obviously I gotta ask you about Hate the Player, man, because I gotta admit, like, my first reaction as a Canadian, I was like, is it too soon? Are we allowed to laugh at this, man? Is it too soon? But then after I watched it, I was like, fuck, this is funny. Like, walk me through, I guess, your initial reaction to be like, oh, this is happening, and then reading the material and reading the script.
Yeah, because I've worked with Anthony Q Farrell for a few years now. He was a showrunner on the second season of Run the Burbs, and he had been telling me about this project for a while, but it had been stuck in like development because they just didn't have the money to make this show, and it's not like it's not a show that's sexy for certain broadcasters because it doesn't have 9 seasons within it. It's like
Right, right,
one
right, right.
story, and it's pretty ambitious. And also Anthony's sense of humor. If he was going to do this show the way he wanted to do it, and in a way that celebrated and represented Ben for the highs and the lows, it requires a certain style of comedy. And so finally when they got the money for it, Anthony reached out. He's like, hey, like, would you be interested? And I was like, yeah. And I say that, but I also say that I reached out to casting when I saw this project and said I want to do this. So it was twofold. But I wanted to do this and I want to work with Anthony. But then he started telling me who they had gotten as the BJ players, the Ben Johnson players. And I'm like, Emma Hunter, yes. Ryan Belville, yes. Daryl Hines, yes. Suresh John, yes. Like, blown away by the caliber of performers, and literally everyone that is in the show has led their own TV show. Like,
No,
that's the
totally.
wild thing, right? And so the idea that one set cast plays these main characters, and then you have 6 or 7 heavy hitters of comedy coming in and playing 70 characters is wild. But also, like, why don't we do that more? Like, that's so much fun to do, right?
No, man, 100%. It's one of those things where I can imagine for you as an actor, like just sort of seeing the material and just sort of the realities that, like, okay, we're going for it, has got to put like a smile on your face. I can imagine casting got a lot of calls once the script got out.
Yeah, like, I think in the second episode there's a shot where it says Scarborough, the land of blacks, and Ben Johnson's trainer is chasing after blacks in a park, and I was like, oh my God, are we doing this, right? But we were at the table read just laughing our asses off, and um, I think it's one of those things where, like, for me, it's a really good cross section of making realities, like finding the comedy in things that are actually exist, because Scarborough is a good example of a quadrant of Toronto that when you say the land of blacks, anyone that is from Scarborough will be so proud to be like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's a big black community out there and they're proud. And so it's like same with Markham. It's like, I would say Markham is a heavy Asian community and they're proud to be from Markham. And so I think that when you're telling Ben's story, you have to showcase the realities of it, what it actually was like. But that's also a source of comedy, right? And it's it was so fun to literally read every script and be like, are we doing this, y'all? Is this what's happening? Okay, we're doing it. We're doing it. But for all of us comedians, it was like a freeing experience, to be able to do it. And then on set, they were so generous. Anthony and RT and Corey were so generous with the improv. Like, we were all my scenes, like, Darius, like, Andrew, do what you feel, add some improv to it. And so we had the scene, we had the story we need to say, like, the characters I play, and it has to be true to Ben, but then to improvise some of the funny bits and quirks was really fun.
Well, and I mean that's just it. I mean, I think particularly, I mean, in the Soul episode, the episode of the Soul Games that was the one that most dropped most recently. It's like wow, you get to lean into the stereotype. I can imagine it's like you're okay with me leaning into the stereotype. Like I know it's gonna be funny,
Yeah.
but it's okay for me to do this. It's one of those things where it's like
Yeah.
shit, they went there, and
Mhm.
seeing that kind of creative freedom is so rare these days.
Yeah. I think that the we went there is like twofold. Like, you went there in a way to mock, or you went there in a way to highlight is the difference. Because if we go there to just make fun of people, I don't I think that's where we feel uneasy. But if we go there to highlight truth and what actually happened, um, that to me is really funny. Like, to this day, like, I come from a show like Kim's Convenience,
Yeah.
and in the first episode, Appa has a gay discount, you know, and I was like, oh, is this okay? And I remember, like, right away the first episode dropped, and there are people being like, well, this isn't making fun of the queer community. This is a way of showing how far Appa will go to embrace and show that he's not homophobic.
Yeah.
That's the joke. The joke is that Appa is trying to prove this, right? He's not making fun of, as Appa would say, the gays, right? And I think this Hate the Player is a really good example. Like, we're not making fun of people. We're just simply highlighting what was actually happening in the 80s and during these Olympics in a very comedic way. So, um, there's a shot of Emma Hunter wearing like lederhosen as the German sprinter. I find that very funny. Or in the early episodes where Ben Johnson's trainer is racing against the all whites, and it's like someone running with like a cane, and it's just like yeah, it's like a silly way of interpreting the past. But I really am happy that Anthony went there, and but Anthony's writing rooms are like so thoughtful. Like Anthony's a writer and a showrunner that like if something doesn't feel right, we'll stop and we'll talk about it. We'll dissect it to make sure this is the best way forward with an idea or a joke.
Well, I mean, that's the thing that struck me. I mean, even when the show is kind of making fun of Ben, he's not the butt of the joke. The show is
No.
not making him a joke. He is always the
Mhm.
hero. And I mean, it
Yeah.
does highlight the realities of the time. It's like, well, no, everyone was doping. It was the 80s. It's like, well,
Hmm.
yeah, that's kind of true.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that the interesting thing it did was it like the first episodes really set up the hook that Ben wanted to make his mother proud.
Yeah.
And I think at the core of it all, like that we forget is like he didn't dope because it was like he didn't just wake up one day and be like, I'm gonna dope and do this. He's like, no, I want to win, but he wanted to win stemming from he wanted to make his mother proud, he wanted to make his country proud. And that's like the flawed hero, right? And to do that, I think adds layers and nuances to Ben Johnson. He's a complex man, a layered man, and showing that is important. And I think it's like the good traits of any great storytelling. You're showing these characters in nuanced ways, right? It wasn't just that Ben Johnson, it's not Ben Johnson is bad. Ben Johnson did a bad thing, but these are the circumstances of that bad decision, right?
Yeah.
And here's the chaos around it from Ben's perspective. Because like every time I read a script, I'm like, oh, this is his perspective. This is what was happening. This is wild. This is Ben's story. This is the way he saw it. It gets wilder and wilder. And I love being a part of that because it allowed us to do wilder and wilder things with our character work.
But at the same time, it's also allowing for, I would say, a lot more truth because honestly, had this been like a six episode miniseries and just sort of straight, it done straight, it would have felt like a TV movie of the week and we would have forgotten about it. But because
Yeah.
the humor allows sort of the truth of the entirety of it all to come out, it feels so much more genuine. What is it about humor that allows, I guess, the truth to come to the surface?
Well, I think inherently humor is a human trait of coping.
Yeah.
And so when we get bad news, getting it with some humor or dealing with humor makes it easier to swallow and makes us more calm to rationally look at something, right? And so I think that when you present this story in a humorous way, you get to highlight the complexities and layers and the flawed aspects of Ben Johnson, but also the positive and heroic aspects of Ben Johnson. It's like a calming, it's soothing, right? And so it's like anything. It's like when we get a blood pressure test. When I go in to see my doctor, I'm getting a blood pressure test. I'm not thinking about like things that stress me out. I'm thinking about things that make me laugh and that calm me down. I think inherently that's set in comedy. It's also a very Canadian story, and so I think that they've definitely hit on the nostalgia of it in the wardrobe, in the references, in the music, in the style and tone. So I think there's something nice about revisiting the 80s. Because right now, I said to my wife recently, I'm like, what I wouldn't give to wake up tomorrow in 1987 just to party for one weekend in 1987, right? As an adult, like having during that time, like I think nostalgia is a big high right now. And so there's something nice about the show to do that. And I think when you combine all those elements, you have something that's really palatable for an audience to watch that's light, breezy, and then makes you kind of stop and think about these characters.
Well, and I mean, it allows for like a certain degree of purity in the absurdity. Like, I mean, and I have to bring it back to wrestling. I almost equate this show to something like Danhausen on
Yeah.
WWE right now.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, it's absurd, but there's such honesty and purity in the character and in the moment that you just can't help but get invested in it.
I've always loved comedic characters in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm a big Sami Zayn
Oh,
fan.
totally.
I've always loved these silly characters. Because Sami Zayn was originally just like Roman Reigns' hype man,
Exactly,
dancing and
yeah.
singing along and doing the high fives, and he had one of the most compelling stories of the last 5 years. And so you're absolutely right. It's like when you set something that's silly and light, you really connect to the regular audience who just wants to get away from the world. Um, and so that's why for me, like a story like this, I don't know if I'd consume it if it was a straight up drama,
Right.
right? But as a comedy, I'm like, oh man, that's like I love it because we're highlighting the comedy of the time. We're highlighting the things that were happening at the time, the ridiculousness of the '80s, and that's like half the joy of it. Going
Yeah.
back to the '80s is a ridiculous time, right? But also the freewheeling world of '80s athletics, you know. It's kind of like when you talk about wrestling, but '80s bodybuilding was like on
Oh my
another
God,
level,
yeah.
right? And so yeah, I think it's nice to go back to these times and laugh with it. But I think what Anthony's done was, and at its core, what he was trying to do was bring some shine back to Ben Johnson
Yeah,
and his story.
for sure, 100%. And this does that. But I mean, just a last question to wrap it up. You and
Yeah,
I
man.
have talked before, so I do have to ask this question. Have you
Yeah.
finally mastered the triangle offense, or are you still struggling with it?
Yo, man, I did a movie called The Events Transpiring Before, During, and After a High School Basketball Game. I still don't understand a triangle offense. I still struggle with it. I know there's a trigger, and I've read Kobe's book, and I've done all those things. Uh, and it's funny because now my son, who's 12, is playing organized basketball. And so he's learning about these offenses and stuff. And so it's made me have to like kind of look at things differently. So I have not mastered it, but look, has anyone mastered it? Only Kobe, MJ, Pippen,
Yeah.
Shaq, Phil Jackson have mastered it. So it's a very elite group, and I will continue to work on it. But it's a wonderful offense. The people who've implemented it correctly have won championships.
Well, brother,
So
thank you, yeah, man. You're absolutely right. I mean, brother, just thank you for the time and congrats on Hate the Player, man. It is so much fun.
yeah.
And just
Hey, I gotta ask you, man. What's the best DVD, Blu-ray, 4K Steelbook thing you've gotten recently?
you know what? Network just reissued. I mean, Criterion just reissued Network. The old movie with William Holden, Faye Dunaway. You know, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. It looks amazing. It is
Yeah,
such a classic movie. It's one of my favorites of all time. I think
yeah,
it's like 1976, but it just
yeah.
really speaks to sort of the modern media landscape even today, man. It's one of those movies that I will always watch, and I will always pull something new from every time.
That's a great answer, man. That's a great answer. I've been showing my kids new old movies to them,
Yeah,
and it's been a lesson in like filmmaking and being like, oh, that's why I know that trope. That trope exists because I watched this movie.
exactly.
Simpsons is like that as well. I learned
Oh,
a lot of tropes from
100%.
Simpsons. But I showed them. I had never seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I'd
Oh,
never
wow.
seen it,
Yeah.
and
Classic.
we watched it together, and I was just like, they do not make movies like this anymore. This is because this isn't like a grand spectacle movie. It's not like a movie that is saving the world. It's literally just a guy trying to get home for Thanksgiving. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's just like kind of one long journey. It's a bunch of scenes, and my kids were howling in the movie. And so yeah, I see your collection, and I'm like, physical media, that's where it's at. I bought a
Amen,
VHS player
man.
recently,
Preach the
man.
word for sure.
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I appreciate you, man. It was nice chatting with you again.
Likewise, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.